The Paul Leslie Interviews.
I stayed up all night and I listened to all 3 of your albums.
Oh, oh my gosh, thank you.
And it's a great pleasure to present this woman. She's a pianist, a performing and recording artist, Vanessa Perez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Paul.
It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I was interested in the NPR radio report, and it was very interesting to me. From the age of 5, you wanted to play the piano. To what do you attribute that desire?
Well, my mom used to play very well. She's still alive, but she left it. She had too much stage fright, so she suffered too much while performing live. But I would say it is the Moonlight's fault. It's the Beethoven's Moonlight fault. I heard her play that, and I was in love with it. I wanted to play it. She gave me a record and one of those Fisher Price turntables, so I could play it in my room all the time. And I remember being obsessed with it at 5, just playing the Moonlight over and over again. But she didn't want me to take piano lessons. For her, the whole experience of becoming a pianist had been too traumatic. So she really made me wait for 2-3 years. My grandmother would teach me hidden from her. She taught me a few things, and I guess my mom saw that I really was so desperate and so insistent and persistent for 2 years that she finally gave in.
And you were born in the United States, but
yes, mm-hmm.
But you grew up in Venezuela.
That's right. My parents were studying in Miami. They met in Miami, and they were doing their college studies here in the States. So I was born while they were attending university in Miami. But then I quickly, but as soon as they graduated, they went back. So I was 3-4 months old when they returned to Venezuela.
Is Venezuela a very musical country?
Extremely musical country. I mean, that's where also, aside from my mother, of course, my love for music was born there. As you know, through all the orchestras, probably the Sistema orchestras that I know are now well known here, and the philosophy of this creation of having children very involved in music from an early age. For me, I mean, this was my normality. I went to a school where the slogan of the school, which was not, it was a regular school. The slogan was, "There's no culture without musical culture." So we had a theater in Caracas, in my school, where it was mandatory to go to classical music concerts every week and folklore concerts too. So we were all, it was part of the curriculum to have a strong music-based study.
And how did you end up in New York City?
Well, I had many adventures before New York City. I came to the States. My grandparents were retired here. My grandparents from my father's side. And he was Cuban, and my grandmother was Italian. So, like many Cubans, he came here before, actually, the revolution, Castro's revolution. And so he was living in Miami, too. So I came to the States. I went to study in Europe. And then after my years of studying in Europe, I wanted to go to the place where I felt there was the highest chance of me developing more my music career, and where also I happened to have friends because I did my grad school at Yale. So we had a nice group of friends that were moving here in 2003. So it seemed like it was the organic move, the next move to make. So I ended up coming here, yes, in 2003.
Is New York City a good place for an artist to be?
Well, for me, I think for many artists will say yes to this. This is still a very, it's diverse. There's so much variety of what you can find here There's so many contacts one can make. Two, there's so many things that even in my first few years in New York, that even though they would not happen here, would happen because I was here. People that would hear me and friends. You find amazing support groups in New York for the arts. So I felt that in London too when I lived there. But yes, because of you find a big community of artists where everybody is doing the same thing and making their own path and discovering new paths too. And I feel this is a city with a mentality still open to give opportunities for that.
How do you view Venezuela now?
Well, Venezuela is in a very sad place right now, as you probably know. So I feel there's hope, but there's so much to do now to reconstruct what has been broken. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel, unfortunately, the government is too corrupt right now, and I don't know how the people are going to be able to find a way out. As you know, there has been protests for weeks and weeks, and there's still really nothing really evolving from these protests. So I really hope soon that ceiling will break and something will happen. But I really don't know from where. But as long as this is not fixed somehow, I think everybody's dreams are shot right now in Venezuela. I mean, the students right now are really in the front line trying to save the country. So, I mean, I can tell you what it was, which was, this is a place full of wonderful people and again, where music is such a natural language in that country and so much warmth and intelligence. So I really hope somehow is able to be saved.
We're joined by pianist Vanessa Perez. How would you describe the kind of music that you like to play?
Well, I like everything, Paul. I really do. Especially now with these projects that I'm doing with Bill Murray, I'm now navigating even doing rock anthems and other music that I never thought I would perform myself live. I loved it. I love to listen to it, but I never imagined being me, the performer of it, coming from such a rigorous classical training. But so I love everything that moves me, that feels real, that comes from, I feel, a place of honesty from the composers or arrangers, and I think so much music moves me. I used to have a soft spot more towards romantic music, the 19th century, but I think all good music moves me.
You're kind of branching out, you think?
Yes, I'm definitely, with this project, I feel I'm definitely branching out. Like I told you, we are even doing a rock anthem by Van Morrison in this project with Jan Vogler and Bill Murray and Mira Wang. So I even get to kick the piano bench, which a few months ago that would have been sacrilegious in the piano music world of where I come from. So Bill is definitely taking out us music nerds outside of our box.
Do you think that classical music maybe needs people to come in and make it more accessible to the masses?
Classical music is what it is always. I don't think that will change, but yes, I think without realizing it, definitely somebody in this case of what I'm experiencing, like Bill Murray is definitely bringing classical music closer to a lot of people that maybe otherwise wouldn't have maybe been too interested in it, but not because they didn't like it, but because it wasn't just part of their every day, or so. I think he will. I mean, through this project, it is a way of making it more available, more real, and I guess less distant than sometimes what it could be, I guess. But I feel there has been a movement through this too. I mean, with again, to mention Venezuela and the Sistema orchestras, to having that a more refreshing faith through Gustavo Dudamel and what he did with the orchestra as Jose Antonio Abreu. But yes, I feel right now, in this case, I feel Bill is definitely doing something wonderful too for classical music.
What composer has touched you the most?
As I said before, I have many favorite composers. I cannot I cannot narrow it to one. I would say that when I was younger, definitely Beethoven and Chopin. Definitely, they marked me. I feel a special connection, and that's probably why so many of my recordings, the first recordings that I've made, were Chopin, and of course Spanish music. I've always felt a very natural connection to Spanish music. So that's why I made the choices I've made for the first recordings, my first solo recordings. I wanted something that I felt like I was speaking very naturally, and those are the works that felt that way to me.
What about maybe a pianist that has been the biggest influence on you?
There were a few, but definitely, aside from my mother, Claudia Rao, Martha Argerich were the pianists in my early years. Of course, as one grows, with the same with music, many composers touch me and move me. Now again, even rock authors, composers move me. Yes, but pianists, definitely Martha Argerich and Claudia Rao. Martha for being the woman pianist. Like, she can do that, I can do that. And I have to say, too, Gabriela Montero, the Venezuelan pianist, Gabriela Montero, who's a very close friend of mine, but I got to listen to her when I was 9 for the first time, and she also marked me very much to become a concert pianist.
As we mentioned, you're doing these performances, these projects, New Worlds, and also your own concerts. What does it feel like for you the moment before you're about to perform?
You feel that you're about to a little bit jump out of a building. So it's exhilarating. It's exciting. You know kind of what's going to happen, but you never really know until you're in front of in people on stage, and you hope, at least I do every time, that I will be able to make that leap into that kind of very strong meditation where you just are one with the music and what you're doing, to immerse yourself in the character of what you're doing and just swim in that. So it feels like you're leaping into somewhere unknown that you also know very well, but there's always that unknown feeling of live performance, which makes it thrilling and where so much magic can happen.
Jan was telling me that before he performs, instead of calming down, instead of making everything slower, he likes to speed everything up. He wants to he wants to go on stage with adrenaline. Are you the same, or are you more of the classic get calm and get slow?
No, I feel that I definitely want to be in a state of kind of like as neutral as I can be, because I feel that I'm exploding inside. So I know that explosion is going to come out the moment I'm sitting down, in whichever way, whether it's I'm going through deep waters, deep nostalgic meditative waters, or just going for something very fiery. So I feel that I'm just trying to keep in a neutral place, because I know the music, I know what I've worked on. So it's just a matter of like getting out there and and connecting for me. But there's definitely an excitement, an exhilaration. I feel the adrenaline is there. But I guess in my case, I feel more like I want to get in a as calm and as neutral place, because I feel that it's so easy to tap into that connection, that kind of fire, I guess, or meditation once I'm on stage.
And you're the pianist for this project.
I'm the pianist for this project.
It's called New Worlds.
Yes.
So it's you on piano. It's Mira Wang on violin, Jan Vogler on cello, and Bill Murray listed as recitations.
Yes, and he sings
and singer
too.
So
yes.
How did you find out about this project?
Well, Jan is a friend for a few years now. He asked me to do projects with him. Somebody told him recommended him for me to do tangos with him. Actually, pianist Ingrid Fleeter and her manager recommended me for him to call me, because he was looking for a piano for his tango CD with Sony in 2008. So then we got together, we played a little bit, and he said, "You're doing it. You're going to do it." So that was the beginning of our friendship and musical collaborations. After that, we've played together sometimes. I've gone to Maritzburg to his festival, and that's how my friendship with Jan began. So he told me about the project with Bill about a year and a half ago, that he was thinking about this and whether I would be interested. I'm like, of course. So that's how it kind of all was born.
What did you think of the idea when he told you about it?
I had no idea exactly what he wanted to do, but Jan is such a creative, talented man that I'm like, I'm going to love whatever he has in mind. But I really did not know exactly what this was going to be. But I like adventures. I like getting out of the box. A couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, actually, the Limon Dance Company here in New York invited me to collaborate with them, because they knew I was a solo pianist mostly, collaborating sometimes with chamber musicians, but they wanted me to play the set of the Chopin mazurkas, and they wanted to dance to it. So that was also kind of a beautiful, unexpected way of me performing Chopin mazurkas, because it wasn't me alone. We had to make this new interpretation of these works between their dancing and my playing and come together. When Jan told me about this, of course I know Bill as an actor, as we all do, and so I had a little bit of an idea, but not to the extent of what we're doing now. No idea about what we're doing now I had 2 years ago.
And you've returned from Germany, these performances that you all did. How did those concerts go?
They went really well. It was really amazing, actually. We had an amazing response from the audience. We had a blast, and I think the program is in a wonderful place right now. I think we're getting to know each other, the four of us, more and more. So it's a program that is growing all the time and is expanding all the time. So we have more and more ideas. Bill and Jan have wonderful ideas. So the range of what we're doing, I feel, is so big. We have, there's everything here. There's drama, reflection, humor. I feel you find everything, and it's such a feel-good program too. I feel you will leave our concerts and feel uplifted, which is also how we feel on stage. And with Bill, it's really fantastic.
So it sounds like this show is evolving. It's changing.
It's all the time we are creating new ideas for it. We have a set, more or less, program of what we're doing. But of course, there's so much literature and so much music, and so many things we can do. Bill is also adding, of course, his own ideas and experiences. As I said, he's making me kick the piano bench. He's helping us poke fun at ourselves, which as classical musicians, we really never do, at least not in this manner. I mean, to juxtapose music with poems and literature the way we're doing I have never done. I mean, it's something I never thought of doing, and let alone with an actor of the caliber of Bill Murray.
What piece, whether musical or one of the spoken word pieces or any part of the show, what part of the show do you think is going over the best?
The whole. I feel that the show is it's almost a 2-hour program, so I feel it's kind of like a story, an atmosphere that we are setting from the beginning. So we are kind of taking you on this ride. So I wouldn't say there's one piece. I mean, of course, the humor is the one that we can hear the most, but people I felt such silence and such attention from the audience from the beginning in the more reflective part of the program. I mean, we start with an interview of Hemingway, and Jan plays Bach. Then Bill recites Walt Whitman. Then we play Schubert with a reading of Cooper that Bill is doing. So it first begins in a kind of more reflection, inward manner, but then we go different directions. So you'll be surprised, and so I wouldn't say there's one thing that is the most successful, because it's like a story. Which part of the book? Yes, you can like one chapter of the book more than others, but because of those other chapters, that chapter becomes so powerful. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, we're taking you towards this crescendo, the peak of the program, and so every part is important. But I think the whole program is very powerful the way it is right now. And again, we have, music-wise, we have from classical to rock, and we have Bernstein, and also the readings and poems are very varied too.
I'm very intrigued because I've never seen anything like that.
No, you have not. So I really hope you come to one of them soon. Yeah.
Was Bill Murray what you expected him to be when you first met him?
I didn't have a set. I mean, he's such a loved actor that I didn't have an idea of how he was going to be. So I was just kind of observing. But I really had no idea how he was going to be. I was so happy he became one of us very quickly. I mean, during rehearsals, he's so humble. He wants input. I mean, we are a team. So that was really beautiful to find out after everything, after who he is and where he is, And so he's a very humble artist and an extraordinary human being and person, very generous, very kind. So we're just learning a lot from him. That's all I have to say. We really are.
Our special guest, Vanessa Perez, is a pianist, performing and recording artist. It's so interesting, the title of it, New Worlds, each of you coming from different continents, the two men and the two women. I wanted you to tell us about Mira Wang.
Mira Wang. Well, I met her too because she was part of the CD of Jan's tango. So she also performed on that CD. So that's the first time I met her. She's a wonderful violinist from China. And I'm also, again, she's an extraordinary violinist, wonderful person, Jan's wife. And she has some beautiful, we're playing Ravel in this program together, and then also Gershwin. And she's also a riot to work with. I mean, again, poking fun at ourselves, we really do. We have a moment where we're just really goofing off, both of us on the piano. She kind of tries to keep me out of the bench, and I kind of kick her out, and we're just and we're being very goofy, and we're having a lot of fun. But again, she's a musician with a huge range of emotions, and as a performer, so this is really wonderful. I have to say, this is a really wonderful team that we have here.
What do you hope somebody gets out of seeing this concert, New Worlds, other than just enjoyment?
Well, I hope it will elevate, that one will feel elevated, that life is good, that definitely curiosity to find out more about the music we're playing, and for me, I mean, even as a performer in it, but I have to say, I feel that I'm also a bit of an audience, especially with all this American literature that I never knew. I want to find out more. I want to understand more what is being said. I find so many of these readings so moving, and so I have to say, every time we do this show, I understand more and more what the poet is trying to say, and with Bill interpreting this what a gift. That's all I have to say. I just feel that if we can all just feel a little bit more elevated from this, and more, again, like, life is good. There's so much to learn. There's so much to still be curious about. I think that will be something beautiful to take with you, and to, of course, feel that contagious feeling of happiness, of something really important happened here, something really moved me here, and to leave people with that would be really wonderful. I will feel that as a musician too. You feel, what can you do for your audience too?
This is probably going to be a difficult question. You've released 3 solo albums. If you had to pick one piece from one of those albums as representative of what you do,
oh my gosh,
which one would it be?
That's a very unfair question. I have to choose 2 at least, Paul. You can't do that.
Okay, which 2?
Let me say, again, this is a very tough question, but let me say Chopin's 4th Ballade and El Amor Brujo, Falla.
And why those 2?
I feel in the Falla, that work specifically, there's that variety of mysticism, and the way Falla fuses the folklore and this tragedy of the story of what's happening. And I feel this music really, really connects with me, and the sounds that I love to experiment from the piano, and really trying to get that Spanish folklore from the flamenco region, the strongest flamenco region of Spain. And I guess the force and the passion of these works. I mean, I feel it has such variety that I feel it's just something that I love doing. Hopefully I do it well, but it's one of the things that really, every time I play this work, it gets to me. I get in an amazing zone. And with the Chopin Ballade, I feel that it's a ballade that has such range. It really starts from this evocation almost, and then it really carries this theme and this story to this explosion at the end, where it's like really getting out into the open cliff. But it really begins from a place of, again, just meditation and evocation, and this melody that just goes on and on and on. It's these variations on this melody that really takes you to this place of just crisis. But and of course with Chopin's amazing talent for melody and singing melody. So I feel these 2 things from these 2 works. It's just something, these 2 works really always get to me. I just love sitting down and going through the whole story every time. and it's not always the same, but I just love doing it every time.
What is the biggest or what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I have to think about this one. I guess I don't know if it's even a compliment, if I'm able to feel that somebody truly felt what I was doing and can tell me a little bit of what they felt I was trying to do, that is the best compliment. It's hard to remember sometimes, but you never forget how if somebody was moved or felt something in a certain way and they got it. So that is really beautiful. I played a few months ago a faya for this concert here in New York, and someone told me that someone thanked me for jumping, for really jumping and taking all the risks that I had to take, and I really felt that was a wonderful compliment. I was, because he feels that way. Sometimes he feels that you kind of have to push yourself and just jump, and scary sometimes. But I feel that's the only way that you can also make real music. So that was really beautiful. That's probably one of the best compliments I've gotten lately.
That is a great compliment. And with that, there's one side of what you do that people see, but what do you think are some of the, or one of the misconceptions about you that maybe people have, or misconceptions about what you do?
I don't think I would know that. I would say, when I first moved to New York, like many Latin Americans or Spanish-speaking people, sometimes people think, oh, she'll be good in Spanish music, but they don't think elsewhere. So I guess, sometimes you feel they forget that as a classical music pianist, you've been through it all, you've done it all. So that is the only thing that I can think of right now, that they think immediately you'll be good just with this thing and not look elsewhere. That happens a lot, I feel, with Spanish-speaking, Latin American-speaking. They feel immediately it's just that box. But I have to say I haven't felt that in a long time. Maybe I felt that a few years ago, but not lately.
What do you want other musicians to say about you?
That I'm an honest musician. That would be really nice, always. That, again, I hope that I can always tell the story and somehow get it out there, and that I'm an honest artist. That will make me happy forever.
You've gotten to perform on many stages. Many people dream to one day have an album, and you have a few now. You are getting to travel around the world, but are there any dreams you have for the future that you are looking to make happen?
I have a beautiful family, Paul. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I guess I want her to experience a little bit with me all the beautiful things that I am experiencing through my music. But I want to be here for as long as I can to be there for her. So I think that's one of my biggest dreams right now. It's also to be able to see her grow up and go for life and be by her side, be close, somewhere close with my husband, obviously, and my stepson.
What is the best thing about being Vanessa Perez?
Well, these are good questions. I have a beautiful family. I feel very lucky. So my family gives me tremendous joy, and I feel I'm getting to do even things that I never imagined that are so fulfilling. So I think this is the best thing about being everything I just said. I guess I'm a pretty positive person in general. So I try to focus on the positive as much as I can. So maybe that's one good thing too.
It's my hope that people hear this interview all over the world. You know, it's one of the wonderful things, and how we are so fortunate in this day and time with the internet is that we can share messages with each other. So, for anyone who may be listening to this, and whenever they listen to it, they might listen to this 10 years from now. For that person who's listening in, what would you say to them?
I would say, don't give up. Keep going for your dreams. And even if your dreams don't come true the way you thought, I feel that life has incredible surprises of even things that one cannot even fathom. Sometimes I feel life, universe knows better. So to just keep going for things, and something good is going to happen.
My last question. At the beginning of this interview, I put all of these labels on you. Pianist, recording and performing artist. How would you define Vanessa Perez?
Well, I would say that's one aspect of me. I'm also a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a wife, and I'm very connected with that side of me. I love traveling. I love having fun and giggling at dorky things. So I think I'm many things. So the musical part is one aspect of me. But hopefully I'm more and more will enrich all these other aspects too.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Paul. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
It has been a pleasure.
Again.
I will try to see this concert in Chicago.
I hope so. You will have a wonderful time. You should. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
It was an honor. Thank you.